Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're the show that digs through the sources, finds the key takeaways, and basically gives you a shortcut to really knowing your stuff.
That's the goal.
And today, we're diving into something huge. You know, people spend so much time, energy, and frankly, money planning a wedding.
Oh, yeah.
But what about planning the actual marriage? Think about it, the average wedding cost, like over $25,000.
Wow. That's staggering. For one day.
Exactly. But our source material for today suggests maybe the best 20 bucks you'll spend is on a book to prepare for the lifetime after that day.
That's a great point. And that's our mission for this deep dive.
Yeah.
To really walk you through the crucial conversations that, seriously dating or engaged couples need to have before they actually say, I do.
Right. And we're pulling this from Scott Kedersha's book, Ready or Not, 12 Conversations Every Couple Needs to Have Before Marriage. It seems super practical.
It really is.
Yeah.
Kedersha basically collected wisdom from watching hundreds of couples, some thriving, some really struggling, and put it into this practical biblical guide for building, a lifetime of oneness.
Yeah, I liked that focus. It's not just about being ready for the wedding day itself, the party, the photos, all that,
Right. Anyone can plan a party.
but being ready to actually tie the knot for life, understanding what that commitment really truly means, that's different.
Totally different. So think of this deep dive as your guide, your shortcut through the big ideas in this book. We want you to walk away feeling ready to approach marriage intentionally, confidently.
Building that strong foundation, yeah. Not just the pretty wedding album stuff.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's get into it. Let's unpack this.
Hmm.
What is marriage? I mean, really, because let's be honest, our ideas often come from movies or, what we see scrolling online.
Yeah, the highlight reel.
Right. But what's the deeper truth the book talks about? It starts with a pretty stark story, doesn't it? Dan and Tracy.
Oh, yeah. The cautionary tale. They were, so in love, couldn't wait to get married. Classic story. But they skipped the hard conversations. Big mistake.
What happened there?
Well, they basically brought all their messed up pasts, as the book puts it, into the marriage without really knowing how to handle any of it.
Like what kind of stuff?
Dan didn't know about Tracy's history of sexual abuse. And Tracy, she had no idea about the alcoholism in Dan's family background or, his dad being really passive. Stuff that shapes you.
Wow. And that silence had consequences.
Huge consequences. After 20 years, their marriage was a mess. Infidelity on both sides. They basically became roommates.
Just roommates.
Yeah. Isolated, bored, looking for something, anything outside the marriage. It's painful, but it shows what happens when you build on, shaky ground.
That really hits home. I love you is important, obviously, but it's clearly not enough fuel for the whole journey.
Not even close.
So the source frames marriage as something designed by God, right? And it highlights these key aspects that maybe we don't think about enough. First up, oneness.
Right. And this is more than just, the physical side. Like in Genesis, Adam and Eve, naked without shame.
Okay.
The book really pushes that it's also deeply emotional oneness.
Yeah.
Being completely real.
Yeah.
Vulnerable.
Yeah.
No insecurity, no hiding, no judgment, no comparing yourself.
Wow, that sounds intense. Like truly being known. A friend of the author called it a naked marriage.
Exactly. Perfect intimacy. It's a high bar, but that's the goal.
And this oneness, it's meant to be permanent.
That's the second point, permanence. The Bible's pretty clear. Like in Matthew 19, Jesus says, what God has joined together, let no one separate. It's intended for life, separated only by death.
Which definitely pushes against how culture sometimes sees relationships, right? Like they're temporary or disposable if they get hard.
Totally. Then there's the mystery aspect. Ephesians talks about marriage reflecting Christ in the church. It elevates it beyond just a contract.
And what else?
Companionship. Back in Genesis, it's not good for man to be alone. Your spouse is meant to be your closest friend, your partner.
Your best friend, ideally.
Ideally, yeah. And finally, a healthy marriage is supposed to be a picture of God's love to the world. It communicates something bigger than just the two people involved.
Okay, so oneness, permanence, mystery, companionship, a picture of God's love that's a lot deeper than happily ever after.
It really is. And tied into all this is a crucial point the book makes. Your ultimate satisfaction. It needs to come from your relationship with Jesus, not primarily from your spouse.
Ah, that's huge. So you're not expecting your partner to be your everything, to meet every single need.
Exactly. That's way too much pressure to put on another human being. It's not fair, and honestly, it doesn't work.
Which brings us back to Dan and Tracy's story, because it didn't end with them just being roommates, did it?
No, and this is the hopeful part. Despite everything, the affairs, the pain, they chose not to divorce. They decided to do the hard work.
What did that look like? Hard work.
For them, it meant counseling, getting involved in a marriage recovery ministry called Re-Engage, actually studying the Bible together, doing serious heart work, as the book calls it.
Then the outcome.
Today, the author says they have one of the most exciting, life-giving marriages he knows. They even renewed their vows, but this time, like, really understanding the commitment.
Wow. That's incredible redemption. It really makes you pause, doesn't it? If they could heal from that much damage.
Right. Imagine what kind of foundation we could build if we start off having these conversations before things get broken.
Yeah. That's a powerful question. And it leads us right into the next big conversation. Communication and conflict.
Ah, yes. The
Wow.
fun stuff.
Right. It's fascinating how, universal this struggle is. Even the author, a marriage pastor, admits he sometimes really dislikes communicating and dealing with disagreements with his own wife.
It's refreshing honesty, actually. Because it is hard. It's rarely modeled well for us growing up. And the book points out something profound. Our own selfish desires get in the way. Big time.
Selfishness, yeah. There's a story about Jason and Kelly, right? Their marriage went from good to great.
Yeah, exactly. The turning point for them was learning healthy communication and realizing, crucially, that nothing was off limits to talk about.
Nothing, really nothing.
Everything. Sexual desires, parenting dreams, frustrations, that openness built this incredible connection for them.
That takes courage. The author shares a really raw story about himself, too, doesn't he? About selfishness.
Oh, yeah. It's intense. When their twin boys were babies, one was colicky, super stressful time, right?
Oh, I can only imagine.
He and Kristen got into this huge argument, and he just lost it, screaming, "My life is over. My life is over."
Oof.
Yeah. And in that moment, he said it hit him this raw, ugly selfishness driving the conflict. It reminds me of James 4.1, fights come from the desires battling inside us.
God opposes the proud but favors the humble. That verse comes right after. Powerful connection.
It really is. And understanding that, it can totally change how you see conflict. The book argues it's not something to just avoid or run from.
It's an opportunity.
An opportunity for growth
Yeah.
with God and with each other. Handled the right way, biblically, disagreements can actually pull you closer, build that oneness, make you more like Jesus.
Instead of just sweeping it under the rug, which is tempting.
So tempting.
So, okay, practically speaking, what does good communication look like day to day? The book has some simple tips.
Really simple, but powerful. Like, listen well. Obvious, right? But how often do we really listen?
Guilty.
Make eye contact. Put down your phone when you're talking. Seems basic. But think about the message it sends when you're looking at your screen.
Yeah, it says, this screen is more important than you right now, even if you don't mean it. Communicates disrespect.
Exactly. These small things show you care. You're present. And that's essential for building a marriage, where you can actually be real, be authentic, get to that oneness God intends.
Makes sense. Without that open, present communication, deep connection, it's not going to happen.
Not really.
No. All right, let's move to another cornerstone. Faith. Building your marriage on a solid foundation. The book uses that parable, right? The wise and foolish builders.
Yeah, Matthew 7. Build on the rock, not the sand, because the storms will come. That's the key takeaway. It's not if, it's when.
That's a guarantee in life, isn't it? Storms.
Absolutely. Death, job loss, infidelity, money problems. Even, as the author experienced, colicky newborn twins.
Right. He mentioned that earlier. That was a storm for them.
He explicitly says if he and Kristen hadn't been leaning hard on their faith during that time with the exhaustion and stress, their marriage might not have made it.
Wow. So faith isn't just for Sundays or the good times.
It's the anchor, especially in the storm. The author even shares his own story. He didn't believe in God in college, even though he seemed successful on the outside.
At Wake Forest, right?
Yeah. He talks about feeling empty despite having, the grades, the social life. It wasn't until he surrendered to Christ that he found real purpose. It underscores needing that spiritual anchor.
So for couples preparing for marriage, this means having some really honest talks about faith before tying the knot.
Crucial conversations. The book boils it down to 3 key areas, 3 big questions.
Okay, what are they?
First, personal faith. Are you both actually followers of Christ? What's your story? How did you come to faith? What do you believe about baptism? Things like that. You need to be on the same page fundamentally.
Makes sense. What's second?
Second, your view of church. Where are you going to go? what you even look for in a church, its mission, its community. The book strongly recommends being in the same church together.
Why is that so important?
For shared community, shared spiritual growth, strength. He admits it's possible for couples to thrive attending different churches, but it's usually much harder.
Yeah.
Less shared experience.
Gotcha. And the third question.
Third, the day-to-day impact of Jesus. Okay, you both believe you go to church, but how does your faith actually impact your daily married life?
How does it play out?
Yeah. And the author's honest here, too. He says, even for him, as a pastor, spiritual intimacy, like praying together regularly, can be a struggle. It takes intentionality. It's more than just ticking a box.
So it really boils down to that choice again, doesn't it? Rock or sand? Are you intentionally building on Christ as the foundation?
That's the challenge. The book is clear. If you choose Christ as your foundation, your marriage can withstand whatever life throws at it. It's the ultimate long-term security.
And that foundation affects everything else, right? Including the next topic, finances.
Oh, yeah. The money talk, always fun.
Well, this part gets really interesting, especially for anyone who maybe wasn't exactly a financial whiz in their younger days.
Like the author himself.
Totally. He calls himself a financial idiot in his past, leasing Ford Explorers when he didn't even have a job.
I love that honesty. And he contrasts it with Kristen, his wife, who learned from her dad and came into the marriage super prepared, no debt.
While I had car loans, student loans, credit card debt, that's a pretty common scenario, that difference in financial backgrounds.
Incredibly common. And money, let's face it, is often the biggest source of tension in relationships. An AICPA study confirmed that. It's a major stressor.
So how do you navigate that? The book highlights a couple, Kyle and Megan.
Yeah, they're a great example of being proactive. They actually talked about all their debt and their financial backgrounds before getting married.
And the key was how they approached it.
Exactly. They met each other with, as the book says, Christ-like grace and mercy, no judgment, just, okay, here's our reality. How do we tackle this together? They had significant debt combined, but they faced it as a team from day one.
That unity is everything. It's not about being perfect financially, but about being open and having a shared approach. The book talks about a core mindset shift, right? Yeah. Owner versus steward.
Yes. This is huge. Are you an owner of your money, meaning it's yours to do it as you please? Or are you a steward, meaning you recognize it all belongs to God and you're managing it for Him, accountable to Him?
Big difference in perspective.
Massive. And Scott and Kristen lived this out. They decided to give a really significant chunk of their savings to their church for a land purchase. It was a tangible way of saying, this isn't ultimately ours anyway. It's God's.
That takes real faith. The book also mentions how much our family upbringing shapes our views on money, doesn't it?
Oh, profoundly. Whether you grew up with two incomes or one, scarcity or abundance, how your parents talked about or didn't talk about money, it all creates these deep-seated beliefs and habits.
Which you absolutely have to discuss with your partner because odds are your backgrounds are different.
You have to. Otherwise, you're just assuming you're on the same page, and you're probably not.
So practically, how do couples manage this? Budgeting tools.
Yeah, the book suggests a bunch of options. Simple stuff like a handwritten ledger or Excel, or software like Mint or Y&A. Dave Ramsey's resources get mentioned too. Find what works for you as a couple.
But the strongest recommendation, the one that really stood out to me for fostering unity, was about bank account.
Combining them, right?
Yeah. Combine everything after marriage. One joint account.
Why is that so important according to the source?
Because separate accounts can kind of breed secrecy or hiding things even unintentionally. It keeps that yours and mine mentality alive. Joint accounts build trust and really reinforce the one flesh idea. It's ours.
It's a practical outworking of that oneness we talked about earlier. It mirrors the commitment. In fact, speaking of commitment, the book has this wild idea for a prenup.
Oh, yeah. Not the usual kind.
Definitely not. It's basically a verbal commitment. I will never, ever leave you or divorce you. Right. No matter what you say, no matter what you do, I'm with you until death do us part.
Wow. That's a prenup focused on permanence, not division.
Exactly. Much deeper than any legal document focused on splitting assets.
Okay, let's shift gears again. Next up, understanding biblical roles and selfless service in marriage. This can be a tricky area.
It really can. And the book acknowledges that right away. Think about TV sitcoms, right? What's the stereotype of the husband?
Lazy, kind of passive, maybe clueless.
Often, yeah. And the wife. Sometimes dominant, maybe nagging, often seems unhappy. We don't get a lot of great role models in culture for what a thriving, God-honoring partnership looks like.
True. And the book warns that misunderstanding roles can have really serious consequences. It's another story, Andy and Heather.
Yeah, their story's tough. Their marriage really struggled early on because their faith was immature, and they had this fundamental misunderstanding of biblical roles.
What happened?
It led to Andy being controlling, and eventually Heather had an affair. It shows these aren't just abstract theological debates. They impact real lives, real marriages, sometimes devastatingly.
So how does the book break down the different views on roles? I found that part helpful.
It outlines three main perspectives. There's the traditional view: husband primarily works outside, wife primarily inside the home.
Okay.
Then egalitarian, where husband and wife share leadership equally. Responsibilities are pretty interchangeable, based on gifting rather than gender.
Right.
And then the view the author holds, which he calls transitional. Here, husband and wife are equal in value and dignity before God, absolutely.
Yeah.
But the husband is called to lead like a servant, modeling Christ's sacrificial love.
Leading as a servant, not a dictator.
Crucial distinction. And the wife is called to joyfully submit to that leadership, to work with him as a partner in that. It's a cooperative model.
Okay, so the question then becomes, how does that actually work without falling into the traps Andy and Heather did? How do you live that out selflessly?
And the book gives this brilliant, super practical, not tying tip. It's called the one thing rule.
The one thing rule.
Yeah. Find the one household task or chore that your spouse absolutely hates doing, like truly despises. Maybe it's laundry, maybe cleaning bathrooms, maybe deboning chicken. That was one example.
Okay.
And you commit to doing that for them regularly, without being asked, without complaining. It's a small, tangible way to live out Philippians 2, value others above yourselves, putting their needs, their preferences first.
I love that. It's so concrete. It's not just theory, it's action.
Exactly. And for Andy and Heather, applying these principles, servant leadership, working together, transformed their marriage.
How so?
Andy had to confront his own sin, including a struggle with pornography, and really learn what it meant to love Heather like Christ loves the church, selflessly, sacrificially. And Heather realized she needed to partner with him, not fight against him.
And it worked.
Their marriage absolutely thrived once they started living out Ephesians 5 that way. It became this beautiful picture of redemption, showing what's possible when roles are understood and lived out in a healthy biblical way.
It really shows that when the husband loves and leads like Christ and the wife partners with him, it can be amazing.
Truly flourishing.
Yeah.
For both of them, and it honors God in the process.
All right, let's move into another really vital area, intimacy, both emotional and physical. The author starts this section with a story about forged autographs.
Yeah, his stepdad collected autographs, but some turned out to be fakes. And the point was, fake is worthless.
Yeah.
It's a great setup for talking about authenticity in relationships.
Being real.
Exactly. That idea of being naked without shame from Genesis, the book argues it's way more than just physical. It's about emotional nakedness.
What does that mean, emotional nakedness?
It means being completely real, honest, vulnerable, no masks, no pretending, sharing your past, even the stuff you're ashamed of, the yuck, as the book calls it.
That's hard.
It is. And sharing your present struggles, like the author talks about his own battle with food and weight and your victories too, and even your future dreams and fears. Total transparency.
No holding back. There's that not tying tip related to this, right? About PRDs.
Yeah. Fire your PRD, your public relations director. Stop trying to manage your image. Stop presenting this polished, curated version of yourself, especially in dating.
Which is basically what everyone does on social media, right?
Totally. We're dating each other's PR departments, the book says, presenting half-truths. The challenge is to be authentic from the start.
And this actually happened with Scott and Kristen, that kind of vulnerable moment.
It did. He describes how their relationship hit a new level of depth when he finally got the courage to confess his past sexual sin and his ongoing struggle with pornography.
Wow. How did she react?
That was the key. She offered him forgiveness, but more than that, she offered non-rejection. She didn't pull away. And that response, that grace, opened the door to way deeper intimacy for them. Vulnerability met with grace is powerful.
It really is. Okay, so that's emotional intimacy. What about physical intimacy and purity?
The book is really clear here. Sex is an amazing gift from God. Awesome even. But it's designed for the context of marriage. Period.
And it pushes back against the idea that sex before marriage is just a mistake.
Strongly. It calls it sin. Not to be harsh, but to emphasize its significance. It's not just a youthful indiscretion. It has real spiritual and emotional consequences, often damaging trust and future intimacy within marriage.
The question shouldn't be, how far is too far?
Right. The book says that's the wrong question. It's like asking, how close to the cliff edge can I stand without falling off? Why even go near the edge?
So what's the better question?
How close to God can I stay? How can our physical relationship honor him before marriage? And it gives some really explicit boundaries.
Like what?
Things like, way, no open mouth or tongue kissing, calling it a potential gateway drug that primes your body for more intimacy that belongs in marriage. No sleeping over, obviously. Actively avoiding situations where temptation is high.
And the why behind these boundaries is important too, right? The love goggles.
Yes, physical intimacy outside of marriage creates these love goggles. The pleasure, the hormones, the seeming closeness can blind you to real problems in the relationship. Character flaws, compatibility issues, red flags. You just don't see them clearly because the physical connection feels so strong.
It creates a false sense of intimacy, covering up deeper issues that need to be dealt with.
Exactly. And related to this, the book hits hard on pornography. It's everywhere today, so accessible.
And incredibly destructive.
Absolutely. It numbs you, creates totally false realities and expectations about sex and your partner, leads to harmful comparisons. It directly undermines real intimacy. It connects back to what Jesus said about lust being adultery of the heart.
So what if a couple has crossed boundaries? Is it too late?
Never too late to stop, the book emphasizes. Pray for self-control. Get serious about avoiding those tempting situations. And crucially, get accountability. Talk to trusted friends, mentors, maybe a pastor. You need support.
That accountability piece seems key. And one more related point, the book tackles a common myth, right? About sex after marriage if you wait.
Oh, yeah. The lie that if you abstain before marriage, God somehow guarantees you an amazing, problem-free sex life afterwards?
That's not how it works.
Nope. That's not the promise. The reward for obedience is obedience. It's honoring God, having a clear conscience. Sex within marriage can still have challenges, and the book encourages seeking help from counselors or doctors if issues come up. Don't expect automatic perfection.
Good clarification. Okay, moving on to family.
Yeah.
In-laws. Always a fun topic.
Huh? Yeah, the stereotype is definitely there, right? In-laws being a source of jokes, pain, conflict.
For sure. But the book suggests it doesn't have to be that way.
Right. With some simple, intentional strategies, couples can actually learn to thrive in those relationships, turning potential tension into support.
What's the main principle here? It goes back to Genesis.
Genesis 2.24 again. A man leaves his father and mother and is united to his wife, and they become one flesh. The book unpacks leave and cleave.
Okay, what does leaving really mean?
Establishing independence. Recognizing your primary loyalty shifts. Parents need to see their kids as arrows, not boomerangs, launched into their own lives, not constantly returning to the nest for everything. It's about becoming your own family unit.
And cleaving.
That's the other side. It means gluing yourself to your spouse.
Yeah.
Establishing that deep commitment, finding your primary emotional support, provision, and partnership in each other. Your spouse comes first.
That priority shift is huge. The story of Jay and Ashley really illustrates this, doesn't it, with the wedding planning drama?
Oh, totally relatable. They were arguing a lot, and often it involved their mothers getting involved, and Jay and Ashley would end up taking sides with their own parent against their fiancé. Classic trap.
Okay, they break through that.
It took apologies to each other and to their families. But the key moment was when both Jay and Ashley started lovingly standing up for their spouse to their own parents.
Ah, so Jay defended Ashley to his mom, and Ashley defended Jay to her mom.
Exactly. They made it clear. My primary loyalty now is to my future spouse. We are a team. That shifted everything.
And I appreciated the honesty in their story. It didn't magically fix everything with the parents.
No, and that's important. The book mentions that even years later, the relationship with Ashley's parents was still challenging. There wasn't a perfect happily ever after bow tied on it.
But the point was the couple's unity.
Yes, it showed the power of the couple functioning as a team, supporting and protecting each other through those external difficulties. Their bond was the priority, even if other relationships remained hard.
So for couples listening, the takeaway is to talk now about things like holidays, expectations, how you'll communicate with both families.
Absolutely. Be proactive. Set those boundaries and expectations together before you're married. It saves so much heartache later. Protect your unity.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of the hard stuff. But marriage isn't just hard work, right? It's meant to be fulfilling too, like friendship.
Definitely. The book emphasizes this strongly. Yes, marriage takes work, but it's also meant to be joyful, deeply
Yeah.
satisfying. And your spouse should be your best friend. King Solomon wrote about delighting in your spouse.
So how do you actually grow that friendship, especially after the initial excitement fades? The book has 5 ways.
Yeah, practical stuff again. First, find your silly side and have fun. Don't lose the laughter. Try new things. Be spontaneous. Invite each other into your hobbies. Examples like learning fly fishing together, building forts with kids, playing board games. Keep playing.
I like that. Second,
Be intentional. Don't just default to zoning out in front of the TV every night. Ask real questions. Talk about your day, your faith, your jobs, your families. Build a friendship strong enough for the hard conversations too, not just surface stuff.
makes sense. Keep connecting. Third,
Keep pursuing your significant other. Don't stop dating just because you're married. Keep planning fun outings, showing interest, flirting. Keep the romance alive.
crucial. Fourth,
Have shared activities, shared hobbies, shared projects. These build shared memories, inside jokes. They weave your lives together.
and fifth.
Be on mission together. Recognize your marriage isn't just about the two of you. What's your purpose as a couple? How can you serve others or impact the world together? Having a shared mission is incredibly bonding.
That's great advice. This section also touches on opposite-sex friendships after marriage, right?
Yeah, the need to reshape them. It's about building trust with your spouse. Maybe that means being transparent about communication, sharing passwords if needed, agreeing on boundaries around social media interaction. It's about protecting the primary intimacy.
That makes sense. It's about prioritizing the marriage. And the flip side of connection is isolation. The book warns against that, Kevin and Brittany's story.
Yeah, a really sobering example. They looked like the ideal Christian couple on the outside, but they were hiding serious problems. Pride and fear kept them from seeking help. They isolated themselves.
And that nearly destroyed their relationship.
It did. It shows the danger of trying to go it alone. The book hammers this point. Life is better together. You need community, wise friends.
What do wise friends do for a marriage?
Several things based on Proverbs. They help you grow wise yourself. They lovingly wound you, meaning they'll point out your blind spots, challenge you, tell you the hard truth because they care about you.
Like the author's friends calling him out on his schedule or pride.
Exactly. They sharpen you, like iron sharpening iron. And they encourage you when you're down. You need all of that.
So why do people resist community if it's so good for us?
Fear, mostly. Fear of accountability, especially around things like sexual boundaries or finances. Pride, I can handle this myself. And fear of admitting weakness, looking like you don't have it all together.
But vulnerability is actually a gift.
A huge gift. The book says it tears down walls, builds bridges, leads to real connection, compassion, grace. And that Tim Keller analogy is perfect here.
The one about the bridge.
Yeah. Marriage doesn't create problems. Like a 10-ton truck driving over a bridge, marriage reveals the cracks and weaknesses that were already there, hidden underneath. Community helps you see and fix those cracks.
So the need for community for wise friends doesn't stop once you say I do.
Absolutely not. It's lifelong. For big decisions, for conflict resolution, for perspective, you always need those outside voices. The book puts it strongly. If your future spouse doesn't value community, that's a red light.
A serious warning sign.
Yeah,
It suggests they might not be willing to grow or be challenged.
exactly. Which is vital for a healthy, lasting marriage.
Okay, one more big future topic. Kids.
The little blessings.
Huh. The author starts this chapter with some real honesty about his own 4 sons, doesn't he?
Oh, yeah. Loud, smelly, messy, selfish. He doesn't sugarcoat it. And he admits most of his arguments and stress with Kristen revolve around the kids. It sets a very realistic tone.
Totally relatable for parents. He brings in another couple here, Josh and Betty.
Yeah, married over 50 years. A great example of longevity. They came from different backgrounds. He was an only child. She was one of 4. But they were aligned on wanting a large family and committed to parenting as a team through thick and thin.
Their alignment was key. So what are the crucial questions couples need to discuss about kids before marriage?
4 main ones from the book. First, and maybe most foundational, how do you actually view children? Are they fundamentally a gift from God, a blessing, like Psalm 127 says? Or deep down, do you kind of see them as an inconvenience, a lifestyle cramper? That core view matters immensely.
Yeah, that perspective shapes everything. What's next?
Second, number and timing. Now, things might change, life happens, but you need to be on the same general page. If one person desperately wants a big family, say 4 or 5 kids, and the other really only wants 1 or maybe none, that's a major yellow or red light. Needs serious discussion.
Definitely. Third question.
What values are most important to teach your children? What do you want them to prioritize? Josh and Betty decided early on that character development and spiritual progress were more important than grades or sports trophies. What will your family value most?
That requires real thought. And fourth.
Views on education. Public school, private, homeschool. These have big implications for time, money, and lifestyle. Worth discussing up front. The book also touches briefly on the unique aspects of blending families, if that's relevant.
Right. And Josh and Betty, even after 50-plus years, they stayed aligned as a team through all the parenting ups and downs.
A testament to having those foundational conversations early and staying committed to the shared vision. It shows alignment is key for navigating the massive journey of raising kids.
Okay, so we've covered the 12 big conversations. That brings us towards the end of our deep dive today. This has been all about equipping you, the listener, with those crucial talks to have before the wedding to prepare for the marriage.
Absolutely. Being ready to actually tie the knot for a lifetime, not just for a day.
And we really believe, based on this source, that having these conversations, even the awkward, uncomfortable ones, it's honestly the best investment you can possibly make in your relationship's future.
Way more valuable than fancy invitations or expensive flowers, right?
Yeah.
It's the foundation that lasts.
Definitely. It's building something that can actually withstand the storms life will bring. And to leave you with something to really think about, the author shares this incredibly powerful image at the end of the book. It's about his own mother.
Oh, yeah. Caring for a stepdad.
Right. His stepdad had Alzheimer's disease, and his mom cared for him sacrificially, cooking every meal, driving him everywhere, changing his diapers, cleaning him up. Just relentless, practical, daily service through immense hardship.
He calls it the most beautiful picture of love he's ever seen. Unconditional. Practical.
It's what he hopes to live out with his own wife, that kind of sacrificial love.
So the challenge for you, listening right now, is this. What does "till death do us part" truly look like? Not just in the dramatic moments, but in the small, everyday, maybe even mundane acts of sacrificial love for your partner.
Yeah. How can you start practicing that kind of selfless, other-focused love now, long before you even say the vows? And the little things, the daily grind of your relationship.
Because it's right there, in those seemingly small moments, that you lay the real, enduring foundation for an amazing marriage. That's where the knot gets tied strong.